In this series of brief teachings for contemplation from The Truth Will Set You Free, I am presenting some very key messages that Swamiji has taught over the decades, and wanted to share these with you as an intermittent series which will remind you to dip again into the book and also to elevate your contemplation practice. Growth is the most precious entity one can acquire in life. At the same time, it can be quite costly. One must pay for growth by giving up conditions of mind which prevent growth. This is a very high price for most. Apparently, illusion, Maya, is a very dear thing to many people, for they cling to it until death rather than make the exchange that could guarantee life. They choose to hang their fates on the wheel of fortune, and they suffer the repetition of endless deaths under the karmic law of cause and effect. Whatever life situations you are involved in materially, you must be careful not to be blinded by the drama of Maya. It is too easy to see only the apparent fleeting images of the senses and to miss the entire theme and essence of life. The physical senses can only perceive material and sensual experiences. They are limited as organs of spiritual perception. As one's consciousness grows, these organs of material perception are purified and sensitized to a higher tonal frequency of vibration. They become transformed. Maya is thereby defeated. Her false images are disintegrated, and she loses her ability to sway your mind or cloud your vision of life. Such growth can only happen when one is not blinded by the ornaments of Maya. Let us not forget the mythological Narcissus, who was so taken by his own physical perfection that he was unable to receive the love of the wood nymph who adored him. He stagnated and died spiritually. He was hypnotized by a beautiful image reflected to him as he stared forever into a cool pool of water. Similarly, many lives are filled with emptiness as human beings fix their attention on surface appearances and neglect the deeper truths and objectives of their lives. There are innumerable distractions, petty problems, and seductive desires encountered throughout any individual's lifetime. They are all part of Maya's magical picture show, a trap to prevent one's growth out of infantile fantasies and into the resplendent consciousness that is never rewarded to those whose resistance is weak. Sometimes these obstacles to growth come from without. At other times they are produced by the entity itself, springing from the dark well of past karma and samskara. This is not simply a barrage of evil coming to attack and destroy. It is rather a challenge and an opportunity for growth. One is fortunate to be presented with such chances in life to overcome the lower desires and feelings and to transform oneself into a higher being than one was at birth. There is the choice to wallow in childish feelings of helplessness or to use the tools of meditation and contemplation, thereby developing clarity of mind and the ability to see through Maya's varied masks. When one has in this manner come to know the God within, one will be the master of Maya rather than her servant. Certain behavior will be out of the question, will seem totally inappropriate. God does not imitate the fool, does not act like a demon. It would certainly be ungodly behavior within this state of consciousness to envy, lust, revile all lament over the ornaments of Maya. At this point, one has reached a state of non-attachment and is therefore unaffected by the delusions and fancies which afflict those who think they are taking the easy road of instant gratification. What is often termed love can be the darkest, most mysterious and destructive emotion. True love, however, is an implement of evolution, as in Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion. All too often, lower physical manifestations such as lust, greed, and the desire for power are misinterpreted as love. Sometimes, when one is unable to receive the affection which is craved, one turns to fantasies. The imagination creates events to be experienced as is desired by manipulating and degrading others for selfish gratification in a dream or hallucinatory state. When energy is used in this way, it promotes the delusion that one is getting what is desired. In reality, though, what is happening is the creation of an obsession based on unreality. If continued, this can lead to behavior which is extremely unsuitable to the reality of the situation. It can also produce insanity. The responsibility for such fantasies belongs solely to the fantasy maker. This perverse waste of energy and emotion is totally destructive and dangerous, allowing for repeated experience of unreality. Love is pure. It is a selfless attitude of devotion to the unfolding and blossoming of truth. Through love, one can manifest to a higher level. Human beings need to love and to be loved. They also need to transform selfish love into selfless love. It is through such transmutation of lower urges into higher longing that one is able to attain more profound fulfillment and eventual enlightenment and liberation.